Sopak TV, solving Wassce past questions and more. Wassce Core Mathematics Paper 2, 2023, Part 1. Question number 1 says, in a talent hunt competition of 35 artists, they indicated their interest in playing piano, bagpipes, and guitar. Out of the number, 24 preferred piano, 16 bagpipes, and 18 guitar. 8 preferred piano only, 2 bagpipes only, and 6 guitar only. 4 played all the 3 instruments, while 7 preferred piano and bagpipes only. The questions are narrated. A. Illustrate the information in a Venn diagram. And B. Find the number of artists who preferred only 2 types of instruments. Only 1 type of instrument. And we all understand this particular question is a Venn diagram. Will require a Venn diagram to analyze it. And you write your question number. We let the number of U for universal, to be equals to the 35 artists that are in the talent hunt competition, and number of P also to be 24 for those who play piano. Number of B for those who play bagpipes, and it was giving us 16. And we also have number of J also giving us 18. And what other information again? We have P only to be equals to 8. We also have B only to be equals to 2. And J only to be equals to 6. And those who play all the 3 instruments, all 3 instruments to be equals to 4. And finally, the question also says 7 preferred piano and bagpipes only. So P and B only will be represented by 7. And I think this is the data we can analyze from the information that is given us. And we have to sketch or illustrate this information or data in a Venn diagram. And it is clear that it is going to be 3-set problem. Thereby, we need to sketch our 3 circles first. Always start with the circles first. And when you finish, you sketch your rectangle around it. it will be more appropriate when you use ruler. So when you finish, what's the next thing for you to do? You allot their respective names to it. We have the number of U to be recorded as 35. And then we can allot one of the cycles to P, number of P, as 24. And also we allot one of the cycles to number of B as 16. And then the last one, number of G, as 18. And when you finish, it is a must for us to fill all the regions in the diagram. And it's better we always start with the intersection of all the three, of which it was given as 4. So 4 will be recorded here. And we can go ahead by recording P only. P only, since it is only, it is with the exception of the cycle of B and the cycle of G. Thereby, there wouldn't be any deduction. We write our 8 straight away. B only also be written straight away without any deduction, since it is only. And J only also be recorded at the J side. It means the whole of this side is J only. We are left with these ones to record, and we still have another data to fix into it, which is the number of P and B only. This is our P and this is our B. So the intersection of P and B only. So the only part will also have the 4 not to be affecting it. So we have our 7 to be recorded here. The 4 will not be affected because it is only. And we still have these 2 left for us to fill. And since the data didn't give any place for us to write anything there, we fix them with variables. Let's say X here and then Y there. And I think from what the question says, we are to illustrate the information in the Venn diagram as A. We have done it. We have completely done it. And now, the variables that have been fixed, we need to look for the numbers as well. And from the interpretation of the Venn diagram, the whole of this cycle should sum up to 24. Likewise, the whole of this cycle also sum up to 16. So, for number of P, which is the sum of everything in the cycle, it has 4 chambers, the X, the 4, and the 7 plus the 8. These are the 4 chambers that sum up to give us the 24. I think we can simplify this to get our X, whereby X will be equated to 24 minus 4 minus 7 minus 8. And our X is going to give us 5. Our X is going to give us 5. And for number of B, for the cycle of B, we also have the elements in it as 7 plus 4 plus Y plus 2 all equals to 16. So to get your Y, you need to move 7, 4, and 2 to the other side. And you finally get, with the help of the calculator, y equals to 3. So we can now say that the Venn diagram is completely fixed. So we are going to use the Venn diagram to answer the B part. The B part. What does the B says? Find the number of artists who preferred I only two types of instruments. And from the diagram, only two types are those that have been recorded here. This side, which is the X, plus 7 and plus Y. That is our only two types, where we know X to be 5 and our Y to be 3. We end up getting only 15 artists preferred two types of instruments. And yeah, that's the display. And II says only one type of instrument. So only one type of instrument. And only one type has to do with our 8, 2, and then 6. So we have 8 plus 2 and then 6. And the summation will give us 16. So 16 artists prefer only one type of instrument. End of question 1. We continue with question number 2, which reads, Araba walked 2 kilometers from a village S to visit a friend in another village T on a bearing of 065 degrees, which is 65 degrees. After spending some time with her friend, she continued to a nearby town U, 3 kilometers away on a bearing of 155 degrees. If the distance between S and U is 6√13 kilometers, we are to A, illustrate the information in a diagram, and also B, calculate correct to the nearest whole number the I value of T, II, the bearing of U from S. So for that particular question, there will be the need for us to sketch the journey of Araba before we can analyze it well. So it is assumed, before you start from anywhere, consider the first movement of the first direction Araba took. He said 65 degrees. 65 degrees, as we all know, is in the first quadrant. So if I start it here, then it means it will go up there. Therefore, I need to bring it down a little, get a space for it here, so that I sketch my compass nicely. I want to show the 65 degrees direction on it. There's no need for you to draw it too big. So 65 in the first quadrant, reading from the north, will, even though not drawn to scale, but we should be able to show the difference between 65. What will be left is what? 25. Because when you take 65 from 90, you get 25. So we should be able to show the difference well. Yeah, so it is clear that from the north to this side, we can allot this side as 65. And it is quite bigger than what is left, which is 25. 25. It is also accurate when you bring the 25, because that the sum of 65 and then 25 will give us our 90. And from the question, it says that he started from S. So we can now name this point S to a village T. He walked 2T kilometers. So the distance is going to be tagged as 2T. 2T kilometers. And after spending some time with her, continued to another town U, 3 kilometers on the bearing of 155. So Araba is now here. She is continuing another journey on the bearing of 155. 155 is also in the second quadrant, reading from the north, 0 through 2. It will cross 90, so it will be within this quadrant. And that one too, if here is 90, here will be 65, and then 25 will be left. So I think there should be a slim angle left. And don't forget that journey is 3T, longer than this one. So if from here to here is 2, that one should be a little bit longer, so that it distinguishes between the 2T and the 3T. Yeah. So it is now clear that if this side is 2, from here to here is 3. And that destination was U. And from U, we need to seal the distance between the starting point and then the destination. And we can seal that with short dashes. Okay. So we can also demarcate the dimensions. If here is 90, here is 55, sorry, 65, and then this small side will be 25. 25. Yeah, so that's going to be the sketch. Now, anytime you sketch a bearing, the next focus should be on the angles, the interior angles of the bearing. You check using the properties of angle to see whether any of the angles will give you 90 degrees. Any of the angles will fetch you 90 degrees. And for the properties of alternate, if here is 65, 65 is also alternating with this side, thereby forming 90 degrees. 90 degrees. That is 65 plus 25. That will give us 90. And from S, where did she go? T. So this side will be T. So we can now sketch it to look like a normal right angled triangle. So I show my 90, and then that side, the point there is T. And what about the distance between T and U was also given as 3T. So we can say this side is our U and target 3T, and also tag this side as our S, 2T. So that it will look more clearer. Now the idea of Pythagoras can be applied. But before then, let's read the next question. The next question says that we are to calculate, correct to the nearest whole number, the value of T. The value of T. How do we manage to get T? From the question 2, don't forget the distance of SU was given as 6 root 13. 6 root 13, so we can write it here, 6 root 13. So with the idea of Pythagoras, we understand that 2t all squared plus 3t all squared equals to 6 root 13 all squared. And for this particular one, when you expand the bracket, you're going to get 4t squared plus this one will give us 9t squared, all equals to the expansion of this, the 6 will be affected, likewise a root. So we are going to get 36 times 13. Where these ones are like, we can add their coefficients, and that will give us 13t squared equals to 36 times 13. With the help of the calculator will give us 468. And when you divide both sides by 13, 13 will cancel 13, and 13 into itself 1 into 468 will give us 36. And we know how to clear squares by introducing what? Square roots. So the square cancels the square root to give us t equals to square root of 36 is 6. Don't forget, it's in kilometers. It's in kilometers, so 6 kilometers. That is our t. Now we can conclude that if t is 6, then it means this side is 2 times 6, which is 12. And this side is 3 times 6, which is what? 18. 18. Then the B part. The B. We are to find the bearing of U from S. In other words, we are to read the bearing from S of this line U. And how do we read bearings? We always read from the north. through the clockwise direction. So whilst reading, we already have the first angle to be given, 65. Though this one is partially given, but we are not going to focus on that one. But we can let the angle from this end to this end to be theta. So that when we get the theta, and we add it to 65, we get a bearing of U from S. And where is the theta located? The theta is located at S. Thereby, from our small right angle triangle here, our theta can be recorded over here because that point there is S. So we can now build a relationship with trig ratios as far as theta is concerned. So if theta is here and we want to connect it to 12 and the 18, we know the 18 is opposite and then this one is adjacent. So we can say tan, we can use tan, TOA. Tan theta is equals to our opposite over adjacent, which is equals to 18 over 12. And our tan theta (18 on 12) from the calculator will give us 1.5. And to find the theta, we are going to get tan inverse of 1.5. And our theta, tan inverse on the calculator will give us 56.309 blah 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 blah. But we are to correct to the nearest whole number. So to correct it to the nearest whole number, theta will now be equals to 56 degrees. When we get theta, we are not done yet. The question says we are to look for the bearing of U from S, and we need to include the 65 since bearing is read from the north through the clockwise direction. So 65 will be added to the theta. So our bearing is theta plus 65, where theta is 56 plus 65, we get the bearing to be 121 degrees. 121 degrees. Question number 3. Question number 3 also reads, in the frustum of a cone, the bottom diameter is thrice the top diameter. That is a preamble. And the question under it says, if the height of the frustum is 12 centimeters, calculate the height of the whole cone. And the B part, given that the volume of the whole cone is 39,600 centimeters cube, find correct to 4 significant figures the radius. Take pi equals to 22 on 7. And for this particular question too, analyzing it with a sketch will be more crucial. So we need to first of all sketch a full cone, get its frustum as well, and then get a skeletal part. Yeah. So you know the cone to be in this particular form. And we know frustrum is a cross section, but this is a pyramid, and it doesn't have a uniform cross section, even though there can be a cross section, but that cross section is not uniform. That makes it frustrum. So a cone always has a height and a radius. And the frustrum, that is assuming this part is cut off, and it means the frustrum is going to be something like this. Yeah, that's the frustrum of the cone. And that one too is going to have a height and a radius. And we also need to sketch the skeletal part. That's a net of just one side of it, from the full one, so that we give its dimension. So because the frustrum is here and is having a radius, we can name that radius small r, and then name this radius a bigger r. So we have a bigger r here as well. And I think this one too. Let me cut it this way. So a small r and a bigger r. And we are having a height for the frustrum and a height for the whole cone. So we let the height of the frustrum be small, and the height, I think the general height for the cone be capital H. Mind you, if this is the height of the frustrum, there is another height from the tip of the cone to where the cone was cut. So we can name this height H1 and the one here H2. So to translate it into this can be our H1 and H2, so that the addition of H1 and H2 gives us the full length of the height H. Yeah, now from the question says that the bottom diameter is thrice the top diameter. So we can let the bottom diameter to be capital D, meaning the whole of this side will be capital D. And then we also let the top diameter to be small d, meaning the whole of this side will also be small d. And the question also says the bottom diameter, which is the capital D, is 3 times the top diameter, which is 3 of the small d. Yeah. So getting the diameter, we can find their radius as well. The radius for the bottom diameter goes with the capital R. So its radius for the capital R is going to be 3d on 2. That is half of the diameter. And then the radius for the small one will be d on 2. That is also half of the diameter here. And from the question, the height of the frost room, which is the H1, H1 was given as 12. And we have to find the full height. That's the height of the whole cone, which is capital H. We don't know. So how do we go about this? We know the full height is, even though not known, but H2 plus the H1. Now, getting all the data, we can now adopt the concept of enlargement and similarities because of the shape of the net here. And the concept of enlargement and similarities makes us understand that the length, assuming this side, this triangle is the image to the whole triangle, then having all the sides to be given, then we can compare this side to the whole of this and this side also to the whole of that. So we can say that the length of the image H2 will be divided by the corresponding length, that is the full length, which is our H. And it is also equals to the length of the image R, small letter r, to the corresponding length of the object, capital letter R. And per this deduction, we can now substitute what we have acquired into it and proceed from there. Our H can be expanded as, so let's rewrite this statement as in the case of H2 all on H2 again plus H1 equals to small letter r on capital letter R. So by so doing, when we substitute, we are going to maintain our H2 since we don't know, all on H2 again plus the H1 was given as 12. which is equals to our R and R, capital R, are dividing. Our small r can be written as D on 2. Let me use a division sign here. 3D on 2. So we maintain our expression here, h2 all on h2 plus 12, and reciprocate and simplify. So you're going to get D on 2 multiplying 2 on 3D. 2 cancels 2, D cancels D. So we are going to get 1 on 3 for this side, because when D cancels, it will be 1 1. Sorry, 3 will be left, and then this one to give us 1 1. So we end up getting 1 on 3. So when we cross multiply straight away, we are going to get 3 multiplying h2, giving us 1 multiplying h2 plus 12. Anything that multiplies 1 gives us the same thing. So we now group like terms. 3h2 minus h2 equals to our 12. Where 3h2 minus h2 will give us 2h2 equals to 12. You divide both sides by 12. 2 cancels 2, and 2 into 12 is 6. So our h2 gives us 6. And therefore our height, which is capital H, and is equal to h2 plus h1, where we now know h2 to be 6 and h1 to be 12. Our height now is equals to 18. Our height is equals to 18. The B also says, given the whole volume, so the volume of a cone, as we know, is 1/3 pi r squared h. That's the volume of a cone. And we were given the V from the question as 39,600 centimeters cube. And our pi is giving us 22 on 7. We have our R. So when we substitute, when we see volume 39,600 centimeters, we are going to get 39,600 equals to 1/3 multiplying my pi, which is 22/7, multiplying our r squared. And I think our r squared can be replaced by what we got for r squared, which is 3d on 2 all squared. Yes, so 3d on 2, that's our r squared. And then we shall multiply and multiply through by our h. The h was 18, sorry. Let's correct that one. And so times 18. And we need to focus on what is in the bracket here to give us 39,600 equals to 1/3 multiplying 22/7 times the expansion of this will give us 9d squared all on 4 times 18 as well. And I think some of the numerators can cancel the denominators. 3 can go into itself 1. 3 into 18, 6. 4 into 2 into 4 is 2. Into 6 is 3. And 2 can also cancel 22 to give us 11. So we end up getting 39,600 equals to, our numerator will become 1 times 11 times 9, 99 times 3. With the help of the calculator, we are going to get 297. Then we bring our diameter squared. And the down part, which is the denominator, will also be left with 7. So from here, we can cross multiply. And we will get 39,600 multiplying 7 all equals to 297d squared. When we divide both sides by 297, 297 will take care of this. And the whole of this, with the help of the calculator, will give us 933.33333 all equals to our d squared. Then we square root both sides to give us our d, and the square root of the whole of this will give us 30.55. That is when we consider it to four significant figures. And we shouldn't forget that our R is 3D on 2. So our R can now be 3 multiplying 30.55 all on 2. And our R, with the help of the calculator for this side, will give us 45.825. And that's going to be our radius. We shouldn't forget we have to correct it 4 decimal places. So 45.83. 45.83. Question number 4. In the diagram, JKLMN is a regular pentagon and KOPQRL is a regular hexagon. We have to find the angle JNM. So A, angle JNM. Angle JNM is an interior angle of the pentagon that is given in the diagram. And the interior angle of a regular polygon is given as n minus 2, all into bracket times 180 all on n. And the number of sides, which is our n, because it is a pentagon, automatically will have 5 sides. So how then do we find our interior angle of J and M? So our angle J and M is going to be 5 pentagon. 5 minus 2 all times 180 all on 5. And we are going to get 3 times 180 all on 5, which will give us 540 all on 5. And finally, 108 degrees. 108 degrees. And the B part, the B says we have to find the interior angle of KOP. KOP is also an interior angle n minus 2 times 180 all on n of a hexagon. Thereby, the number of sides n is 6, which means our 6 minus 2 will multiply 180 all on what? 6. And that will give us 4 times 180 all on 6. So finally, we are going to get 720 all on 6, which will give us 120 degrees. 120 degrees. And C, the C, we have to find the angle MLR, of which that angle is shaped as this: an exterior angle. An exterior angle where the line KL is dividing through. The line KL is dividing through. So that one can be interpreted as angle on a straight line for this and another angle on a straight line. Don't forget, MLK is an interior angle of the pentagon where we got 108. The 108 is for all the interior angles of the pentagon. And this side is also 120 for all the interior angles of the hexagon. So when we get to know this side and this, and we add it together, we will get our MLR. So our angle MLR can be expressed as 180 minus 108. That is for this side. For us to get this side, let me say X and this one Y. So when X and Y are added together, so plus our Y can also be expressed as 180 minus 120. Yeah, that's a clear display. We end up getting 72 plus 60, and that will give us 132 degrees. Question number 5, which is the last question for the first section in paper 2. It says the mean of a second year class of a school is 18 whole number 2 on 5. At the end of the promotion exams, 3 students aged 20, 19, and 19 years were repeated. The new mean age of the class became 18 whole number 1 on 3. Calculate the number of students who were in the class before the promotion examination. With regards to this question too, I think we need to let the number of students in the class, the number of students in the class to be n. and it mentioned the mean age, of which mean, we know mean to be what? So we have two means, so we shall assume the first one as the old mean, in the sense that before the end of the promotion examination, the mean was given, the old mean was given as 18 whole number 2 on 5. 18 whole number 2 on 5. And we also consider the new mean. The new mean as 18 whole number 1 on 3. Now we need to get a mathematical expression for the two means here. So from the first one, we know mean to be the sigma of, or the sum of all the data, or the sigma of x bar, all on n. That's the old mean. And it is giving us 18 whole number 2 on 5. And then the new mean, from the new mean, we have 3 students being repeated. So it means it is a sigma of the whole students minus the 3 students that were repeated, their data, because we need to subtract them from it. And they are having their age to be 20. So plus 19 and another 19. And I think you divide it by the number of students also minus the 3. Also minus the 3. And the question gave us 18 whole number 1 on 3 as the new mean. Yeah. So we can simplify this one and get the sigma of x bar minus 120 and 1919 are added. We are going to get 58 all on, or better still, this one will cross multiply this. Yeah, so all equals to 18 whole number 1 out of 3 will give us 18.333. So 18.3 multiplying n minus 3 as a cross multiplication. And I think this one is giving us an equation. So we can name it equation 1. And from this expression too, we can get an equation from it, which is the sigma x, when the n multiplies this one, will also give us, I think this one is 18.4. 18.4 n. So that one too can give us equation 2. What can we do from here now? We can put where we see sigma x equals to 18.4n into equation 1. So it means we are going to substitute this by 18.4n. And we are going to get an expression 18.4n minus 58 equals to 18.3 n minus 3. So we need to expand the bracket here. So we get 18.4 n minus 58 equals to 18.3 n, all minus, when this one multiplies the 3 with the help of the calculator, will give us 54.9. So by grouping like terms, we get 18.4 n minus 18.3 n, or equals to negative 54.9 plus 58. With the help of the calculator, 18.4 n minus this one will give us 0.1 n. And when you simplify this one too, we shall get 3.1. Dividing both sides by 0.1. 0.1 cancels, and our n, with the help of the calculator, the expression there will give us 31. 31. Therefore, our n, which symbolizes the number of students, is 31.